Live from Ann Arbor, Michigan, this is Cardinal's Corner, your weekly look at Concordia University athletics. Now, here's your host, Ira Weintraub.
It's time for another edition of Cardinal's Corner here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. It's been a few weeks. We were off for Christmas Eve. We were off for New Year's Eve. So it's been a few weeks since we last joined our friends at Concordia Cardinals, Concordia University here in Ann Arbor. Of course, for all your academic information needs, cuaa.edu. That's cuaa.edu. For your athletic needs, you can go to concordiacardinals.com. You can download the Concordia Cardinals Athletics app from the Google Play or Apple Store. And, of course, you always, every Wednesday from 6 to 7, can listen to Cardinals Corner right here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA. Later on, we'll talk with Lon Priest, the athletic director and head football coach. We'll also talk women's basketball later on in the show as well. But let's open up the show today talking men's basketball with senior guard Andrew Patrick here on Cardinals Corner on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing well. How you doing?
Doing great. And I want to talk, of course, about your season and see how things are going. And a big clutch shot from you the other night to help your team to another victory. So we're going to get to your season in a moment. But as I just mentioned, you are a senior. So let's go back a few years. What drew you to Concordia? Why'd you end up here as a student athlete?
Well, Concordia has been recruiting me since I was a sophomore in high school, actually, and they reached out to me through various AAU tournaments and also just my high school basketball at Goodrich, Michigan. And what really just drew my interest into the school was just the small school atmosphere, the coaching, and only being an hour away from my hometown. And those are all just like big considerations that I was looking into as a senior. And I committed actually pretty early my senior year. I committed and signed in January of my senior year.
So you have an opportunity to continue playing basketball at the next level. Here you are, Concordia. So now you're a senior, but you've gone through some transitions with coaches, et cetera. Were there any thoughts as far as, maybe looking elsewhere, other options during your time here due to, coaching change, anything like that? Or was it pretty much home at first get here 4 years ago?
Well, obviously I've been through a lot with Coach Jan being my third head coach here, but I never really took consideration in leaving Concordia. I feel like I had a great foundation here. I was loyal to the program, and I would build great relationships with some coaches that still remained here, and also certain teammates that stayed here as well. So I always felt like this is the place for me, and I didn't really want to, go through the whole hassle. And I just wanted to stay loyal to this program, and always knew it could be something special, and that's why I remained here.
So not a lot of people remain from when you first got here. Just a couple left, Marv being one of them, Marv Fox, the player development coach. But when you say you've gone through three, you're on your third head coach now, that's a very unique experience for any student athlete at any level. Talk about getting to know one coach through the entire recruiting process. You talked about how you've been thinking about Concordia since sophomore in high school. So that's one set of coaches. And then once you're here, they kind of have to re-recruit you, not, as you said, to stay per se, but to develop those relationships, because it's very easy to develop relationships with coaches that have been in your living room and talked to your parents. But it's a little bit different when new coaches are brought in and put above you that it wasn't who you were expecting to play for. But as you said, things have worked out. But talk about going through this now twice and having to relearn coaches that are going to be coaching you on the floor.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a huge transition, but, being a competitor, you have to look at it as you have to, be the best player you could be every day. You have to prove yourself to not only your coach, but also new players that come in. I've had countless teammates that have came through Concordia and gone and transferred or just gave up on the sport. And it's just one of those things that you just have to learn and have to grow as a player and learn how to play for people. And being a point guard is in my position, I have to be an extension of the coach on the floor. So it's another challenge for me is I had to build a good relationship with the coach. And thankfully that was very easy with Coach Jan being my third coach, and I love playing for him. So it was just an easy adjustment with that. But, I mean, it's definitely challenging for, student athletes of all ages and of all sports, but it's just something that you have to do if you want to be successful here, and especially at Concordia, being a small school, but also just any sport.
I'm sure that you also, as you've talked to other people, academic or other advisors that you have on campus, and there's so many great people that you can talk to over there on campus Concordia, that as you're going through these different transitions, they probably also point out these are things that happen in life. You get a job, and then you have a new boss, and then that boss leaves, and someone else replaces them. But you're not leaving the job just because you have new bosses. So these are really good life lessons that you learn and that you can take with you pretty much forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's my parents talk to me about that every single time something came up, because both when my head coaches, my first two that left, they were both spur of the moment, out of nowhere. So those are quick adjustments that I had to learn and adapt. And like you said, my parents and my mentor have talked to me about that, and it was just something that I've had to learn, and I know it'll happen later on in life, and it's just something I can relate to and think back on when I'm in college.
One of the other things that was you put on your resume down the road and you're in the real world looking for work, and you put on that you were a student athlete, the people are going to look and say, oh, student athlete, time management skills, he must have them because you don't succeed on the court and in the classroom if that's the case. Talk about how you balance the days and the weeks when you have to get in classwork, practice, sleep, eating, all those good things.
Well, one thing I want to point out first is I don't think people realize, like, even though we're a smaller school at Concordia, we are still very, very busy students. And I know people get caught up with the big D1 schools and everything like that, but we put in just as much as work as they do. We still have class all the time. So that's definitely one of the things I had to adjust to when I was a freshman. And how I do it personally is I literally break my day down simply just day by day. And I try not to look forward to, like, weeks in advance of different things, but I just, like, look at my day before I go to bed each night. I try to figure out what I'm going to be doing that later on that day, when I can have time to do free stuff, when I need to put in extra work and stuff like that. And then the next thing you know, these days keep adding up, and the time flies by. But it's just one of those things you have to hold yourself accountable to doing as a student athlete to make sure you're being the best person you can be for the program.
You talk about time flying by. So you mentioned that you were recruited as far back as being a sophomore in high school. Here you are now as a senior in college. Can you think about how quickly those 6-7 years have passed through?
Oh, it's amazing. It really is, and I'm having so much fun this year, and it's my 5th year for being a redshirt senior, and I'm literally finding myself pinching myself because time is flying by so fast, and we're having so much fun with the team right now. We're playing great, but it's amazing just like how fast time is flying by, and sometimes it's just nice to like look around and see what's going on because moments like this, they don't last forever. So it's one of those things that you really just want to take in and soak it all in and have as much fun with it as you can. But like you said, it's just flown by, since I've been recruited here and I first came here on a visit. It was my junior year. And to think now how much has happened and how much has changed, it's incredible.
We will, I promise, talk a little basketball coming up in a moment, but we do have academic questions that I want to bring up to you as we continue with Andrew Patrick here on Cardinals Corner on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com. So you're a business administration major at Concordia. Talk about that program.
Well, I actually came into Concordia wanting to be a teacher at the education level, but then I changed my major after my freshman year. And I just picked the business program because it's such a broad field, and my dad's a pretty successful businessman, and he travels a lot, and I saw all the different opportunities that it could present for myself. And I don't necessarily have a clear-cut plan with what I want to do after college, but I just know the business field is so broad, and I'm starting to build new relationships with people and trying to figure stuff out once I'm done here at Concordia, maybe starting grad school somewhere. But these are all just plans I'm going to start figuring out once the season's over. I
don't think there's one student athlete from Concordia I've talked to doing this show all school year long that has not switched majors, unless they're too young to have switched majors yet. Yeah. So you're just right on par like any other college kid across America. Everyone switches majors numerous times. You talk about going to the business world. Any thought about staying in the sports side of things?
I think I will find myself somehow being involved with sports. I mean, that's just the way I've been my entire life. I played soccer as well in high school, and I'm just a competitive person, and I feel like that's what happens with most student athletes is one way they find themselves to be around the sport they love, or whether it's coaching their kids or something like that. But I think I will find myself being somehow involved with sports.
You mentioned that you also played soccer. Why'd you pick hoops in the long run over soccer?
Well, to be honest, I'm just better at basketball, and I find more enjoyment out of basketball. I've played soccer my entire life, and my closest friends actually from home are my old former teammates. And that was just something fun on the side I did, and I played travel soccer as well. And I had some great memories with that. I actually was a state champion in 2008 back in my high school. And I'm just not like a pure soccer player, I guess is the best way to put it. I'm more of a basketball player. And that's just something that I've always been that way. And I've actually had some soccer teammates here at Concordia talk about it here and there, but I calm that talk down and just be like, no, guys, like I'm a basketball player. That's where my heart is. But soccer is a great place in my heart as well.
Do you remember the first time you picked up a basketball, or do you remember the first time that you realized that you loved playing the game?
Oh, yes. My grandparents on my mother's side bought me a Little Tykes basketball hoop, and I actually still have it to this day. And I put it in my basement my entire life. I would always be down there playing basketball, and it started at a very, very young age. And my parents talk about all the time how they could just hear the ball bouncing nonstop in the basement. And I actually, as I got older, I would have buddies come over, and we would still play in the basement. And the next thing you know, my dad's replacing the drywall because we got guys flying through the walls and playing hard 2-on-2 in the basement. So that's just something that stuck with me my whole life. And finally, as we got older, we transitioned to outside because we started being bigger than the Little Tykes hoop. But that's just something, some of my first memories I have of playing basketball.
All right, let's jump in and talk about the current team, the current Concordia Cardinals men's basketball team, 8-1 in league play, 9-5 overall. And we've had a lot of talks with Coach Jan about the season and how things are going before we went to Christmas break. And so the last game we actually talked about was the CMU game, but you sandwiched around Christmas the CMU game, the visit up to Central, and the visit to Eastern to play in their gym. And while obviously neither of those games went the way you wanted, talk about playing in those facilities and be able to play in Division 1A gyms and to play at some pretty nice facilities, especially over the Convocation Center at EMU. You guys had a chance to step up your level of competition as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's a great experience, and you really start taking things into a new perspective at the D1 level, and you start seeing how higher class everything is, and it's just a great experience. And then you're also playing against some great talent and some of the best talent in the country. Definitely in the state for that matter. And, you just really want to raise your game up to a higher level and represent, your school, and you want to represent your team when you're playing those teams. So it's a great experience playing these D1 games, and it's also a great opportunity for our school to represent ourselves.
You step back to your level. The next game you played University of St. Francis and on December the 30th last Tuesday. And that game, another one that didn't go your direction, but then you were able to step back in league play and pick things right back up where you were in league play. Now 8-1 after the win over University of Michigan Dearborn. And of course, some of those heroics belong to you. Not the first time this year that we've called your name for a late clutch shot, but you had another one of those as you guys beat Dearborn last week by the score of 59-58. Late in the game, and having heard you throughout this conversation, I think I know where you're going to go with this, but late in the game, I'm sure you want the ball in your hands.
Yeah, absolutely. Being an older, seasoned vet on my team, my teammates just put trust in myself, and they give me confidence to have the ball in my hand, and I just feel like I can create the best opportunity for our team, whether that's finding the open man or taking an open shot. And things just worked out for us at U of M Dearborn. That's a tough place to play at. But, like I said, it was just a great opportunity, and everything worked out.
I want to, real quick, before we get into league play and what things are going to look like from here on in, and, of course, you have a game tonight down in Ohio, and then next on Saturday, Davenport, a big competition in Ann Arbor, and then Marygrove a week from tonight in Ann Arbor as well. So some stiff competition coming up for you guys. But same thing with University of St. Francis that you had last Tuesday, and it was a 68-57 loss in Indiana to St. Francis. But talk about that game as far as they're a ranked team, top 10 in the polls. Kind of as a barometer game for you guys to see, I guess, where you stand as far as the entire NAIA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, St. Francis is a great program. I've played down there a couple of times here in my time at Concordia, and I really wanted that game, and all the guys really wanted that game. But I think coming off the long break from the holiday, it kind of hurt us a little bit, but also it's a tough place to play at their gym, and I just think we did some things and just came up short a little bit. But we took away some things from that game and learned as a team, and we brought that back to our league play and bounced back real quick from U of M Dearborn, which is most important. And we understand these conference games are important, but that would have been a big win for us. But like I said, St. Francis is a great program. They're a great team, and I could see them doing big things in the future.
It's amazing to think that you guys have not lost a league game since middle of November. Aquinas in the league opener, a 77-61 loss. That was November the 15th, and here you are now with another league game tonight. You've now won 8 in a row, including that win over UM Dearborn. Talk about your game tonight. Another big test for your squad.
Yeah, another huge game for us away at Lourdes, and they're also a great program team too. Have been to the national tournament a couple times, and it's going to be a tough road game for us. We're going to have to really go back to what we've learned in the past on these road games, and we've pulled out some big wins on the road at Siena Heights and at Indiana Tech, and it's going to be another dogfight. Like I said, Lourdes is a great team, and they're very physical, and we got some guys who are banged up right now, but I think we're going to be mentally prepared, and we know we're going into a fight.
Couple of home games coming up after that, and I'm not going to get too far ahead. I know how players and coaches like to go one game at a time, but I want to remind the fans that coming up this Saturday, 3 o'clock game at Concordia. It's again 3 o'clock tip against Davenport. They're a top 10 team ranked in the NAI, a big league game for you guys. And then a week from tonight, another home game, a Wednesday night game, a 7:30 tip against Marygrove. So always great basketball action over at Concordia. And I've heard some great things about the fans when you guys play in front of your home crowd. Tell us about playing at home.
Oh, it's great. Obviously, it's nice to get wins on the road, but playing at home is just something else about it. Coming from a small school at Concordia, everyone knows each other, and it's just nice to actually know that, they're not just fans, but those are your friends out there and your classmates who are supporting you. And, you might be an athlete out there and you might not be able to hear the fans, but sometimes you can hear your friends out there supporting you, and it definitely gives you an edge, and it gives you more drive and a motive to go out there and win and perform well for your fans who are cheering for you.
That game is this Saturday. Davenport currently ranked 6th in the NAIA poll, so that's going to be a pretty tough challenge for you guys as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Davenport's always a great program. It's always a tough ball game against them, and they're definitely never a team that just lays down and lets you win. So it's going to be a dogfight.
So as you guys roll along, the last couple things here as we continue on Cardinals Corner on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA, online at WTK.com with senior guard Andrew Patrick from the men's basketball team at Concordia. Following those games, a Cornerstone, another big game. That's going to be a road game, and you see that the schedules really picks up with league games all the way now through to the late part of February. How do you focus, seeing that you're 8-1 now, and the one loss is that first one, so you're on an 8-game league winning streak, and you probably don't want me bringing it up too many times. But how do you focus on just the next one, and not thinking about it as terms of a streak or in terms of playing a lot of games at once?
Well, I think me and the guys and our coaching staff have done a great job of just every single day bringing it and taking it one day at a time, and whether that's practice, shoot-arounds, walkthroughs, and also on game days. And obviously it's hard not to think about the streak, but I also think it just gives us more of motivation to keep the streak going. And I know we're doing something pretty special over here, and we're still pretty early on and have a long way to go, a lot more work to do. But I think, just the culture of the team has changed, and we're confident over here, but we also know we have a lot of work to do, and if we don't put in our work, we will go back to losing like we did a couple of games early on in the year. So we got to stay with the package, and we got to just keep bringing it every single day.
I guess it's the same thoughts in the classroom. You only have a few months left of being a college student. You ever think about that part of it as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, obviously being a student athlete, you got to still think about the books here and there, not just basketball, but yeah, it's all coming to a close here, and I've been at Concordia for so long now. It's actually weird thinking that it's finally going to end here soon.
Well, we appreciate your time joining us today. Andrew Patrick, senior guard out of Goodrich, Michigan, joining us here on Cardinals Corner on Sports Talk 1050 WTK. Good luck on the hardwood and good luck in the classroom. We'll talk to you down the road.
All right, thank you. Thank you for having me.
We're going to step aside, take a break, come back with more of Cardinals Corner on the other side of the break as we continue here on Sports Talk 1050 WTKA.